Old Volkswagen done it again. She's definitely falling down. The feared invasion of Australia. So back in the day they were pretty worried that the Japanese were going to come down and take over Australia. Just pulled up on the side of the road just outside of Wiley Creek here. It's an old vine of some sort here because we've just stumbled across some old ruins. The old gateway, the entrance to go in. So we'll just jump through the fence here. Look at the old vine over there. And we've got this old set of ruins over here. If I can get through the fence. It's a bit hard. That will be right. There we go. Barbed wire, nothing like it. Look at this. I wonder how old it is. Imagine living here back in the day, eh? It would be freezing, tiny. I wonder what it is. It's an old farm ruins. Look at it. She's definitely falling down. And with these places, the only things that really survive after a while is the old fireplace. Because of course they made those out of brick or stone back in the day. And it's all that survives. The old U-boot brick fire. So I've just stopped here out in the bush to show you something that you may or may not realise what they are. It's a rock, and there's another rock, and there's more rocks over there. But the interesting fact about these rocks is these rocks are actually shaped, they're granite, and they're shaped from the glaciers. And these there was a big plain of them up there a bit further, and these are classic down through the Armidale area and down Threadbow, all the big granite boulders, and they're all nice and smooth from being worn away by the glaciers. And down the Snowy Mountains way, out Cooma and things, you see them all perched up on top of each other, and it looks like someone's literally stacked them on top of each other, but they haven't. It's from when the glaciers melted and the rocks all stayed on top of each other. So there you go, a little bit of a fact. You probably wouldn't have slept tonight if you didn't know that, eh? It's amazing what you can stumble on out in the bush. So we've just driven up the road a little bit further and got some more of these big granite boulders up here. And as I was saying, when the glaciers melted, they all ended up on top of each other. Huge big things. And there's not a bad little example there. But why we've stopped here are these things here. This is what is it known as a tank trap. And we'll go up and have a look at the sign. So this is World War II tank traps. And I haven't read it, but Sarah was saying it's got something to do with the second line of defence if Japan came down. So what do we got? Tank traps were erected during the war. These are to the left of the cement wall in form of posts standing upright. This is the area of Brisbane line was to be the second line of defence if the northern part of Australia fell into enemy hands during the war. Up to 10,000 troops were camped in the Tenterfield district. Oh, let's go and have a bit of a squeeze. So here are the tank traps. It's amazing what you find. You see these brown signs and you've just got to stop and have a look. Mad if you didn't. So these tank traps, they put these in so that the tanks would come down, and when the tanks would go up to go over the top of them, they were most vulnerable because they could shoot underneath the tank and pierce the lighter armour that was under the bottom of the tank. Pretty cool. So this little sign here explains the tank traps. Very interesting. As I was saying, exposes a soft underbelly, and then they had a rock fall down a bit further down from the posts down over there, which was blasted up higher to make the passage a bit more difficult for them. And it also says that fortunately the Battle of the Coral Sea saw the turning point of the war, which prevented the feared invasion of Australia. So back in the day they were pretty worried that the Japanese were going to come down and take over Australia. I think the Japanese were pretty confident they were going to do it too, because apparently there was some Japanese Australian money was made by the Japanese, notes, which was the Australian Japanese currency. Be pretty cool to have some of those. So this is one of many of Captain Thunderbolt's hideouts. So we're down at Uralla before, so we'll go and have a look at it in there, but it's pretty interesting. So it says here that legend has it once that he held up a travelling German band, but after making them play for him, he gave them some of their money back and went on their way. Now, that's a different story to what I heard. I heard that he wanted to put the money on the horse, and the horse won, and he gave him his money back. So there you go. So he was arrested for breaching his ticket of leave. He was riding a stolen horse, and then he got went to prison on Cockatoo Island, and then him and one of his companions, they swam to freedom, and then over the next 6 years Fred transformed into the notorious Captain Thunderbolt, robbing mailmen, travellers, inns, stores. So the police finally caught up with him at Uralla, which was said down there where he's buried, in 1870, and when called out to surrender he shouted, "I'll die first." He fired a shot, and the return fire from Constable Walker found its mark, leading to Thunderbolt's death the next day. So I might have a bit of a walk and see if we can find his hideout. So up in all these rocks up here was where Thunderbolt used to hide out, and down the bottom down there, it's a good little spot you can hang out and no one will see you from up here. And apparently he used to sit up on top of the rocks and hide up there, and he could see the police or whoever was chasing him at the time. So something that I didn't know, for a surprise, lots of stuff I don't know, is old Fred Ward, Captain Thunderbolt, was the longest roaming bushranger in Australian history. So he travelled quite a long way, from Tenterfield all down through the New England area down to Gloucester way, robbing people on his way. Quick stop off at the Tenterfield Railway Museum. Why not? We've got enough time. Go and see what's in here. Classic old building. She's a gem. Look at it. How nice is that? The old railway. I wonder when it was operating. We'll find out. The old trains, first class. Diesel rail motor. Yeah, there's not an awful lot to operate in there. That's for sure. Maybe old mate conductor sat there. First class, have a go at it. Look at this, eh? Pretty flash.
Did you see the driver?
Tables, yeah.
How basic is that?
Very basic. There we go, the old steam locomotives. This is economy. Economy looks the same as first class.
Oh, that's different. Food, I guess.
Oh, non-smoking and smoking area, eh? Classic. Workshop. A workshop van, eh? Look at that. the old meat wagon. The only thing to keep it cool was the slaps in the outside of it. So this is the old Now that's what you call a model train. What an effort someone's gone to. Everything's all to scale. (1912) steam engine. Tilly the Tank engine it was called. And here's something that's quite interesting that I never knew. Is all the states had different gauge rails. Silly. So New South Wales, which is the blue one here, was 4 feet 8.5 inches, and then Western Australia and Queensland 3 feet 6 inches, and the green one up the end there's Victoria, which was 5 feet 3 inches. So obviously the trains couldn't go interstate. They could only go in their own state. So I guess you'd have to hop off at the border and get on another train. Yeah, there's a tank. It must have just been a transport vehicle of some sort. Well, it's a Bren gun carrier. There you go, for carrying the Bren gun. Used for training in the Tenterfield area. Sheep wagon. Cattle wagon. Oh, Volkswagen, done it again. How good is the old Volkswagen? Not only with the iconic Beetle and the ever popular Combi, but we've got the heavy duty gang car used for carrying rail workers around. Powered by a Volkswagen. Have a look. Absolute gem.